So this is a video around the coaching process. It's the first video of a series around the coaching process. So this is really at that first level to understand in the basic terms what the coaching process includes. So the coaching process is made up of three main areas. Now the first one is to observe. Okay. Now that sounds really simple, but there are a lot of coaches that don't actually observe players in front of them before giving lots of teaching. So you need to really observe your players before diving in and starting to teach. Now, how do we know when they're ready to be observed? So the things that we have to think about when we're observing are, is the performer performing? Okay, is that performer performing? Now, what I mean by that is, are they switched on? Are they mentally focused? Are they giving their best effort as if they were playing their best ever game? Okay, because if they're not playing their best, then you are not observing them in a natural situation that then you can improve their game. So they need to be performing. So whatever it takes you to do, whether that's in the warm-up to get them to be more active and engaged, to lead to the point where they are competitive, then that's what you need to do. Don't start making judgments on somebody unless they're actually performing to their best. Now, what scenario do we need to see them in? Well, we need to see them in some form of competition, being competitive, because then that's naturally what happens, right? We want to see what they're doing in a natural environment. So are they performing, and are they competing? If we've got them performing and it's in some form of competition, then we can then start to analyze. Okay, so analyzing is super important. So again, we're not starting to dive in yet. Okay, we're just analyzing the game. And so it's really important that when we analyse, what we're looking for is to gather some form of statistics. Okay, we want some stats. Now we want some stats to help us get buy-in from our players, which I'll move on to later. But it's around some stats, around some criteria that is set. Okay, so what is that criteria? So that criteria is going to be important because it could be anything tactically, a tactical framework that we might be working to, the goals of the player, a technical framework, something physically or something mentally. So it's really important that we get the criteria and we pull off some statistics from it. Now, if you're match charting, then it's really easy to get some detailed stats. Or if you're doing a lesson where you're actually feeding and getting involved, it's a bit more tricky to get the exact stats. But some rough statistics to get buy-in is really important. And then once we've gathered all of this information, it'll take a while to gather the correct information. Then we move to the stage where we can then improve players. So we're starting to improve our players at this point. Now, when we're improving players, firstly, like I mentioned, we've got to get buy-in. So we're going to get buy-in from the players. Now, that buy-in could just come from the fact that you're the coach and they really trust what you are giving them, what information that you are providing for them. Or they might need to understand based on some statistics, which you've gathered in the analysis phase. So you've gathered your stats, you get buy-in, and then you're ready to improve the player. And then what you need to do is to be able to demonstrate the skill, and get your message across by showing and telling at the same time, and then giving a really good accurate demonstration of it. Maybe show them what not to do. And then also making sure that you ask some questions to check for understanding, and they've got to be open-ended questions. Okay, now once we've given them that information, then what happens is we then let them to go and practice again. So we might make it easy, we might make the feeding etc easy, that's for another video. But we're ultimately getting them to do something where we then start to observe again. So this becomes a cyclical process where we observe, we analyse, and then we improve. Observe, analyse, improve. Observe, analyse, improve. And what you'll find is this could be done globally on a much bigger scale, or it could be done in a micro fashion during a lesson, just tiny little observe, analyse, improve sections. So that's the start of the coaching process, and we'll dig into each of those areas more in the next bit of the series. So have you got any good examples of how you've used a microcycle of observe, analyse, improve? Or maybe more globally? Let me know.